What's up, guys? Brian Ellwood here. Welcome back to the Virtual Real Estate Investing Podcast. Hope you guys are doing awesome today. I'm really excited. I've got a super cool guy on the line here that I'm about to interview named Justin Wilmot. Justin Wilmot is a real estate powerhouse, flipping hundreds of houses valued over $100 million. He's also helped thousands of students across the nation gain financial freedom and was named the most noticeable real estate investor under 30 at the time. He's a lifestyle entrepreneur, a high-performance real estate coach and educator, a former pro-amateur competitive surfer, world traveler, father of three, and husband to his beautiful high school sweetheart. He now owns 3 successful companies in the real estate space, allowing him to not only live his ideal lifestyle traveling around the world surfing, but to help others achieve their ideal lifestyle as well. What's up, Justin? How you doing, man?
What's up, Brian? Stoked to be here, brother.
Man, I wasn't planning on asking you this question, but after reading your bio, I kind of have to ask you, how do you do it all?
Dude, that's a great question. Man, I'll tell you, if I have one thing, I feel like anybody can achieve anything, but if I have one gift, it's definitely energy and ambition. So, anybody that knows me would agree. Right?
Were you built that way, or did you have to create it?
That's even a better question. I don't know. I feel like I've had it for the ambition part, I feel like I was maybe born with. But the energy, not always, man. I definitely had, energy, definitely not. Yeah. Now that I think about it, man, that's a great question. Definitely not, because without a really definitive goal that was crystal clear, I did not have the energy for sure. And there was times in my life when I was, I showed you earlier, I grew up here on this beautiful beach town in Florida. And I still had ambition, always wanted more, but when I didn't have a vision or a goal, I got drifted off and just got stuck into partying too much and drugs and alcohol, man, too much, like over the top, and just, and no energy at that point in my life. So yeah, definitely not born with it, man. It was cultivated through having a really good vision of what I want.
That's a powerful tip.
Yeah.
So take us back a little bit. We kind of know where you are now and what you do a little bit, but tell us a little bit about your story. Where'd you come from? What'd you do before real estate?
Yeah, man, dude, just real quick, born in New England, Boston, Mass. My dad moved me here in honestly, just candidly, a nasty divorce that luckily I was young enough and didn't really know anything about it. Moved me to a small beach town that had a population of like maybe 1,000 people. And when I say everybody knows everybody, I mean it. Like literally, like everybody knew everybody. Moved here in '89, and that sort of created the person that I am, man. This like very lifestyle-based surfing, boating, fishing kind of guy. And the only jobs on the island, it's a barrier island. The only jobs were really waiting tables. That was it, man. It was like, and where you're going to wait the table, that's up to you. So I bounced from place to place and eventually got so burnt out. I ended up working at a restaurant that was like one of the best restaurants in town. And, you make great money as a waiter. But the boss, the owner of that establishment was literally like a tyrant. Like, I mean, physically abusive and like verbally abusive to his staff. And at that point, and I was going home smelling like fish every day, met my high school sweetheart. She's like, "Hey, I love you, but you stink like crap." And I was like, this life is sucking. I was like, this is sucking. This is not cool. And it's missing good surf days because I had to go work. And I was like, I'm not built for this, And so that's what sparked the entrepreneurial spirit. And the rest is sort of history. I started a yacht management company. Actually, it was detailing cars. I would do anything to get out of the restaurant business. Started detailing cars. My passion in life, being here in this culture, in this community, was boating, of course, and being on the water. My dad's a yacht captain. And so naturally, I evolved from car detailing into yacht management. And that company became really successful, man. Like, up until the bust, the Great Recession, that company, my number one client, dude, was at the time, one of the world's largest private luxury condo developers in the world. He bought half of the west end of the Bahama Bank, building what was going to be the biggest resort and casino that existed on planet Earth, below some place in Dubai, and or wherever it was. And when they went bust, I went bust. Like, what's the first thing that you get that everybody cuts when everybody's losing their money is uncertainty. The real estate market, they're the first ones to start losing their income. No one's taking care of their yachts anymore or their boats. So I was the first person to get the axe.
Wow.
Yeah, and I threw everything I had, Brian, at that company, every dollar, every savings that I had in that company to try to keep that afloat through marketing and direct mail and postcards, which was, kind of goofy looking back, but that's within me, dude. I just don't quit. I will go out fighting no matter what. Like if I'm in a challenge, if I'm in a race, if I'm a race against you, I'll keep running until honestly, dude, I've done it. I'll just keep running until I just can't. I fall. So that's just who I am. And lost it all, dude. Lost everything, man. Bankrupted the company. It was a mess. And then just found myself in the real estate like most people do by Googling, how do I make money from home?
Wow.
Yeah.
When I see anyone's bio say something about being like a lifestyle entrepreneur, I kind of light up a little bit because I'm super passionate about prioritizing lifestyle first and sort of building things around that support lifestyle. I think I learned that from the 4-hour work week or something.
Totally.
It sounds like you kind of had that aha earlier on, even before you became an entrepreneur, though, just like from where you lived and your surfing lifestyle. Did I hear that accurately?
No, you are spot on. It was in me, but just like you said, Tim Ferriss sparked it in the fact that, oh wait a minute, I could have both. I can make money and lifestyle too. And it sparked that idea where it's like, dude, I don't need to have a couple million in the bank account. What I need to have is this very sustainable and dependable business that pays for my lifestyle. Dependable being the key word, right? So,
right.
And that led me on a whole nother journey.
Yeah, you define what that lifestyle costs, and then that's your new fix.
Exactly.
It's not about $1 million. It's about like, a 10 grand a month or whatever, everyone's number is, right?
It's going to cost to have the house you want, the cars you want, the boats you want, to travel that you want, and to work the hours that you want. So what sacrifice am I willing to make today to build that system in that business that's going to produce that?
Yeah. And the crazy thing is a lot of the people that I coach, when we put a price tag on their desired lifestyle, it's like $4,000 a month or something, it ends up being like this crazy small amount, and then they can do exactly what they wanted to do.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you turn your computer around and show us your view real quick for those that are watching on YouTube?
Yeah.
You showed me this earlier.
Yeah, there we go, my man.
Yeah, so if you're listening to the podcast, Justin has an amazing office right on the beach in Florida, palm trees, deck, white sand, blue water. I'm jealous, man.
Well, you get to just, like I said, man, I made every sacrifice that you could imagine.
So tell us what you're doing now in terms of real estate investing.
So for real estate, man, I started off, wholesaling HUD properties. That did well. I did that in Central Florida. Then I got into, when foreclosures were everywhere, I was buying and renovating 3 to 6. I was flipping single-handedly one-man band, unfortunately. And I'm not saying that with pride or anything. I'm saying that to, make fun of myself. One-man band, flipping up to 6 properties a month through foreclosures. Wow. And then that's when I had this epiphany where I was like, and I ended up in the hospital from over stress, had some sort of hyaline, whatever the hell it was. I don't know what it was. 29 years old, couldn't eat, couldn't swallow, couldn't sleep. Like, it was crazy. And I was like, me? Stress? What? So I changed my lifestyle, man. I stopped the fix and flips. I made the sacrifice that most people aren't willing to do. And to be honest, it was probably that hospital visit that gave me the motivation to do this. But I just stopped, dude, like at the sacrifice of pissing off my financing partners and a lot of people, contractors. I literally just put this wall up in front of me, Brian, and just started writing out what I wanted my life to look like and what I wanted my business to look like, where I want my office, where I want to live. I just started writing it all down. And I was like, I'm done with this fix and flip game. This is not why I got into this business. It's the opposite, right? And so that's where this whole lifestyle thing came about, was, hospital visit, busting my ass, literally so much money. I was making just a lot of, like, obviously the most money I've ever made in my life, and cash just stacked, and every car you want, and the boats, and the luxury condos on the water, and all these fancy things, and had no time, 0 time. And to even think, my passion, that, as you now know, is surfing. and traveling the world. Like it just like, I love Central America. It's really my favorite place in the Caribbean, but, dude, to even imagine to take like, let's say 4 days off to go there would have been a total joke. Like laughable. You know what I mean? Like completely laughable. Like to even assume that I could leave for a day would have been a joke. So that's how much stress and people and contractors and babysitting and problems I had. And that was it, man. I rewrote the book, dude. I just said, screw this, wiped it clean. So then I started off with JV wholesaling, joint venture wholesaling, about 5 years ago, where I was just connected with other wholesalers and building like a different type of buyers list, a landlord cash buyers list, and then connecting with other wholesalers and joint venturing with them. So whether it was like buying their house and flipping it to my buyer, or joint venturing with an addendum and getting out of their contract, and then I call it the 10-hour wholesaler. And so that's why I was just joint venturing with people. And now then I've slowly evolved back into everything back house. You know, we wholesale our own properties. Currently, actually, I just unloaded 2, but I have 4, flips on the island here. And I do just high-end, more expensive flips. Like $250,000 is like, well, for us, it's high-end. Like my minimum buy-in's like $250,000, $300,000. And I just don't do those small little flips anymore. I just do bigger stuff. So $500,000 up is what I like to do.
Wow, that's a cool story. I love the analogy about sort of putting the wall up and putting your priorities first.
Yeah.
That's just so important. So when you did that, when you blocked everything out and said, okay, I went to the hospital, I've got to get serious, and you started getting really intentional about what you wanted, what happened after that? What changed?
A lot of soul searching, man. A lot of mental warfare, and a lot of like late nights with a pen and paper, just writing my thoughts. And then a lot of execution of testing these different ideas of what I could do, but yeah, dude, I mean, candidly, it was like mental warfare, because I was rewriting the book of what I thought life was and who I was and what, like this real estate dream, Yeah. Like that's where this all comes from. I'm like, guys, you don't understand. You like the day I remember like, I was like, wow, imagine if I made $20,000 in a month. And then, you make 20 and it's nothing. You're like, okay. And like, wow, I would have been 40. And I'm getting to the point I'm making, sell a couple fix and flips and make 120, 150 in a month. And literally it feels empty, like truly empty. I'm like, okay, cool. What the F do I do with this?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? Go to Amazon and buy some shit? You know what I mean? You have
to make yourself feel better.
Yeah. Like, what am I going to do? So it sucks, man. It sucked. And so it was definitely a lot of soul searching, man. A lot of work. And I just, life's always a journey.
Yeah. This is deep, but this is an important topic, I think, because there's a lot of people who, and I have a similar story of building a wholesaling business, doing over $1 million a year for like 4 years in a row, 10 employees. I'm the CEO. I'm working my ass off. I've got no free time, making more money than I ever made. But I'm like, wait, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I thought I was going to get freedom and passive income. I have none of that, and I had my moment too, or breakdown. And, but you see, like I watch shows like Shark Tank, and the guys on there are billionaires and they're stressed out and working their asses off, and like, why do you think that do you think we just get addicted to our businesses? Or
I do. And as I said, I want to put this out there. By no means, my friends, am I not saying money's not important. It is. And unfortunately, I'm going to probably rub some shoulders. I will say, besides like family and love, right? It's probably the next most important thing in the world. The truth is, without money, you can't help. Like right now, I'm going through a personal thing with my own grandfather who's like, in a lot of health. I have options now because I have finances to help him. If I didn't, the way the healthcare system is, he would already be passed away. Without money, people, like my friends, you can't eat, you can't live the way you want to live. You can't help loved ones. What happens when you break your arm? What happens? Money's important. So I'm not saying, and I know you're not either, I'm not saying money's not important. I'm saying that that lifestyle, right, should be the priority. But it's not about the $150,000 a month. It's not about the couple million a month. You'll get there when you hold your lifestyle as a priority. So in the very beginning of the call, you said, man, what's the drive? What's the ambition? You see how this all just came full circle? The lifestyle was my drive, dude. Like realizing, wait a minute, I can eat my cake and have it too, right? So meaning like I can have my cake and eat too, right? So meaning I can have a lifestyle and make money. But it's not about the money. It's about life, right? It's about how you want to live. Where do you want to live? So that's kind of just how I became, me and where I am today.
Yeah, that's a great point too about the power of money, particularly when it comes to helping a loved one with something like healthcare or giving them shelter or food if they were down out, on their luck. That's super important. So it's good that you reminded us of that. Yeah. You coached a lot of people. You've helped thousands of people attain financial freedom. I'm really interested to ask you about that. And particularly, I want to start with asking you, from all the coaching you've done, what do you feel like is the number one thing that holds most people back?
Yeah, that's a great question, dude. So it's funny. I never thought I would be in this coaching stuff, dude. Like I was the worst student in school. I absolutely hated school. And then as I got older, we have a smaller group of friends, and my wife's friends were like, I want to be a teacher. And I'm like, that sounds like a horrible thing to want to do. And then as I moved in, and once, a lot of us like quote unquote educators or gurus, the people ask, well, why? Look, my real estate business, it just does its own thing. Like I said, like I restructured it. So I'm always looking to add, right? I'm always looking to add and build a more lifestyle, I came to find out that I really love this coaching thing, dude. Like more than real estate. I'm sure you've experienced this, dude. It just becomes another roof, another four walls, and it's just and that's why I detached myself from it. So the real estate department downstairs, it does its own thing for the most part. Of course, I still have involvement, but the coaching side I love. That's how I got here, and I feel like the number one thing that most people let me say the most common thing that stops people from becoming successful in this business is thinking. And I know that can almost sound contradictory, right? Because we hear things like, hey, a book that will change your life is Think and Grow Rich by Norman Vincent Peale, right? These kinds of things. And it will, and I agree. But what I mean by thinking is I feel like most people can get a set of simple instructions and then be on the call and talking to me and be vibing with me and be like, dude, oh my God, you just gave me so much clarity. I get it now. And then the phone hangs up or the Zoom hangs up or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's up to them. They think out of progress and execution. Mm-hmm. That, I believe, is the number one problem. So that's why in my coaching systems, I've set up things that I believe help eliminate that problem. Not entirely. It's, I can't move to your house and live with you and sleep with you. It would be kind of creepy if I did, but
what could somebody do that's listening to this podcast? They want to work on eliminating that thinking problem.
So I forget who it was, but it's called the 5-second rule. So give yourself just 5 seconds to so if you get an action plan that makes you scared. So let's just say here's a list of buyers that you need to call and build rapport with today. Mm-hmm. Let's just say the average person, which is the truth, okay? 99% of people will be nervous to do that. Right. Brand new. So give yourself 5 seconds to pout about it and go, oh my God, I don't know what to say. I'm not prepared. I've never flipped a house before. But all those things that are honestly going to go through your mind. And then say, F it, and pick up the phone. So you give yourself 5 seconds to just BS about it.
I love it, man.
Yeah. See, there's actually some other 5-second rule, meaning do it within the first 5 seconds. I change it. Because the truth is, I don't think people will do it within the first 5 seconds. I say give yourself 5 seconds to complain about it, and then just take that big breath and do it. Yeah. At least that's what works for me, and that's what works for my students. It's like I kind of flipped around the 5-second rule,
Yeah.
From being in the trenches and having to do things like that myself.
I love that. You have to go through that period of courage to get somewhere new and grow. I tell my story sometimes that I used to, when I was first trying to call sellers and buyers, I would actually go put a suit on and dress shoes and pace around my house and drink a lot of coffee. And the clicking of the dress shoes on the hardwood floors, like, how it has that kind of powerful sound. Like I'm a businessman, click, click, click. Yeah. Somehow that like gave me confidence as I was pacing I was reaching for anything I could, it's just terrified. to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
So I know for those of you out here that are registering what we're talking about, we feel you, and we've been there before. But unfortunately, right, the only path is to man up or woman up and go through that pain, and you can't get around it, right?
You get around it. So like one of my things so I had this new movement that we call the Freedom Moguls movement. And one of the things is like we act as a mogul. If you think about what's a business mogul, like Richard Branson, right? Or Jay-Z for a media mogul. And like, obviously, like I compare it to, hey, these guys are delegating, right? Jay-Z does not set the stages. Richard Branson's got, I think 78 companies, 12 of which do over $1 billion. And he spends over 72% of his time on Necker Island. How is that possible? Right? So because he's a mogul, and what we do is we delegate. Now, so I would say we have to muscle through things first, but another answer, and I would be like, there is a dance with this, in my opinion. The other answer is delegation, right? Know exactly what it is that you need to accomplish and find the right people that will help you on this journey. And by the way, learn how to be a good leader and give them and make them a part of the mission. What's the company mission? What's the goal? So we can go deep into that rabbit hole, but I do believe that's the answer. So muscling through right? I wish I had a better answer for you. Delegation.
It's a great point. Because in hindsight, I'm like, damn, I did make it through all those seller phone calls, but I could have also hired someone to do that for me.
And the truth is, dude, you could hire somebody that was way freaking better than you.
Yeah, and did it all day without putting a suit on and all that crap.
You can hire somebody in the Philippines right now, right, without putting a suit, or okay, yeah. So all right, so for the local stuff, I call it field manager. Yeah, you could find people that have already spoken. They've been in real estate for 6 years, but they're just sort of, your average like agent or wholesaler, and they're just sort of one here, one there. You can recruit them, right?
Yeah.
You can recruit them, and they can work with you, and they've already spoken to 1,000 sellers. They've already been to 500 houses, and you've been to 2, right? It's a mind shift, right?
That's so true. Another thing I think is very helpful during those times is having a support group, like joining a mastermind or having a mentor. And I was checking out your Instagram today. I saw a picture. I think it was a picture of you with Mike Hambright. I don't know are you in his mastermind? Yeah.
No, I do a lot of what you're talking about, trying to be around the right circle. Not in his mastermind.
Okay. Talk about that though. Like what does that add to the equation when you're surrounding yourself with other people who are doing the things you want to be doing?
Dude, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but the first word that popped to my mind was validation. I think we're always seeking validation of what we're doing. Now, I think that word might have a slightly different tonality or definition to different people wherever they are in their life. But for me, it was validation of like, okay, so as I'm talking to you, I'm looking out over the ocean, the view that you just saw. Dude, there are no other real estate investors or educators in this town. There's no other developer. There's nobody. So for me, I have to reach out and travel in order to get around like-minded individuals that have visions, goals, and do things that I do. And honestly, without it, dude, I have to continue to do it in order to re-up my level of like, dude, you're on the right track and look at what's possible. Like I just, we just went to Tennessee and saw Dean Graziosi. Dude, nice. That guy's on another level when we talk about money. Right?
Yeah.
That dude's living, like he just bought, I think it was like the biggest estate in Arizona or something it is or something like that. But
wow.
I mean, he's on a huge level, man, and huge props to him, and it's motivational. And I feel like people look at us and like, well, you guys are crushing it and you guys are living your lifestyle. Yes, we are. But there's always levels, right, that we want to level up to. And you got to get around these people because without being around, I always, dude, it's like you started off the comment with, it's paramount. It's important. And it for me, it's the fuel. Like I want to keep adding fuel to my tank. And I believe that as life comes on, come back on the island and live my life every day, it's slowly in the business world. It's slowly like that tank needs to be refilled up for validation of like, dude, you are on the right track. There are other people out there that have crazy big vision goals like you do. Right. So like we talk about lifestyle and sometimes people think that means hanging out underneath a coconut tree in a hammock all day, every day. Dude, you get bored of shit with that, right?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So lifestyle is always scaling up, you know, and the boats that I have, the vision, I'm quadrupling it, right? So the next boat that I want, it's 119 feet, right? And that is a lifestyle thing. It's not a Ferrari, or it doesn't matter. I'm not saying anything to car people, but it's by no means a statement for me. It's a lifestyle. I can take my kids and my family and my surfboards and go surf and travel these places, right, on my boat. So, you know, I need to be around people like Dean, where he's not the yacht guy, or maybe he is, but he's in the mansion guy. Cool. Well, now I see what you're doing, and thank you. And I'm talking to you. Thank you for helping me fill my tank back up.
Absolutely. It's the conversations are just different when you hang around people that are go-getters, that have done the things that you're trying to do. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of just your friends that have gotten into real estate or personal development just from being your buddy. Like, Justin, you know, can we talk about what you do? I've seen enough of your freaking YouTube videos, like, and I hate my job. It rubs off on people, right? Yeah. So if you're rubbing off on people, that works, but you need to be rubbed off on by others like Dean that keep you strong. So Justin, I could interview all day, man. This has been super valuable. We're running low on time. Why don't you tell other people where they can go to check you out or get more from you?
I appreciate it, man. So you guys can go to, you first follow me on social media. I'd love for you to follow me on Instagram at Wilmot Justin, Facebook, Justin Wilmot, and go to justinwilmot.com, justinwilmot.com. And also, one last place, if you want looking interested in seeing what it is that we do with the coaching that we're talking about, freedommoguls.com, Freedom Moguls. So freedom and then mogul, Moguls. That's where we talk about the lifestyle and delegation.
Awesome. Thanks again for your time, man. Super valuable.
Awesome, Brian. Dude, you're good people, man. And dude, I hope we keep in touch, brother. I always like to collaborate. And when I come out to Colorado, I would like to connect with you.
Sounds good. We'll see you next time.
Awesome, brother.
Peace.